previous video, we learned how to draw some basic shapes. In this video, I'm going to show you how to take a basic shape and turn it into a whole page of EPP templates that you can print and cut and do some paper piecing with. So we'll keep using our hexagon. And obviously, I don't want to print a single hexagon on an 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper. That would be very wasteful. What I want to end up with is a whole lot of hexagons on this page. Trying to redraw the hexagon over and over manually and get it to the exact same shape and size and get them all rotated the same way, that is way too much work. We're not going to do that. What we're going to do instead is draw one hexagon that's the way we want it, and then we're going to duplicate it. So here's my basic hexie from the last video. If I want to make an exact copy of it, I just come up here to the Edit menu and I select Duplicate. And that gives me a second hexie. And I will go ahead and bring these two together, and then I will repeat that. I will go to the Edit menu, Duplicate, add another one. You may notice that these handy red guidelines are showing up. Anytime I put a couple of shapes near to each other and they're lining up horizontally and vertically, I get this little red crosshair that tells me that, so it's very handy. So I just keep going. I'm going to make a whole nice row of hexies here. And if I don't even want to go to the trouble of going to this Edit menu and selecting Duplicate each time, I can use this key command, which you can see over here to the right of the word duplicate in the menu. There's a control symbol for the control key and a symbol for the D key. So if I hold down my control key and I type a D, that'll duplicate without my even having to go to the menu, which is pretty cool. Let's duplicate one last time. Now this last hexie is starting to get out of our active drawing area, but don't worry, we'll clean that up in a second. So that saves me a little time. Once I have an entire row of these shapes, I can save myself even more time by creating a group of these shapes, and then I can duplicate a whole row at a time. So the way that I would do that is, again, going to hold down my Shift key just like we did when we were drawing, and with my Shift key down I'm going to click each and every hexie in the row, and then up here in the Arrange menu I will select Group. Now this whole row behaves as a single shape. So I can, number one, move it so that it's centered on the page a little better. And then, either by coming here to the Edit menu and selecting Duplicate or using my Control key and D, I can make an exact copy of that row. So I have the option to just line it up this way and leave some little diamond shaped spaces in between. Or if I want to be really careful with my paper, I can nest the two rows together like so. I've got a hexie that's going off the page right now, but I'll show you how to fix that in a second. So I can keep selecting these groups and I can keep duplicating them, and this way I can fill an entire page with hexies. I can make really efficient use of my paper and make them a little easier to cut as well. So let me just quickly do that to fill up the rest of this page. So now we've got 4 rows. That's about going to fill up this active drawing area. Now I do want to check that I have accurately aligned these rows together, because it is kind of easy to accidentally overlap the row a little bit, and it's hard to see that you've done that, and you can really throw the shape of your hexies off. So in order to double check my alignment, what I do is I look at this document really big. So I'll go to the View menu like we did in the first video. This time I'll select 200%. Now I can really see easily where those shapes are lining up and where they might be overlapping a little bit. So I take a good look around every edge and I just make sure that I don't see any points of overlap, and that also I don't see any little gaps like that. Sometimes those don't show up when you're looking at your document at 100%, but when you look at it at 200, they're plain as day. So now I'll go ahead and go back to my 100% view. And now why don't we go ahead and deal with these hexies that are coming off the edge of our page. All we really need to do is delete them, but of course we've got them grouped together with the rest of the row, so we can't delete them without deleting the whole row, right? So what I'll do instead is I'll select this group I'll go back up to my Arrange menu, and this time I will ungroup it. Now all the hexes operate as individuals again, so I can select this one on the end and just delete it. And I'll do the same thing down here. I'll just pick the ungroup tool and then choose the one hexe and then delete it. So now I've got a nice page of hexagons. All I have to do is send that off to my printer. I can print this to a sheet of scrap paper or to a sheet of cardstock, cut them out, and get to piecing. In the next video, I'll show you how to create really nice diamond stars using this Google Drive.